Greetings and welcome back, Blade fans. This old sword is with you once again. And today, from the folks at Vosteed Knife Company, we have another new model. And this is called the Labrador. Interesting, the previous one I reviewed was called the Raccoon. So we've got all kinds of animal names going on here. And I've got one more coming in fairly soon. I'm not sure if that's going to be an animal name or not, but we shall see, right? I wanted to do an unboxing real quick simply because there's so much to be seen and valued in the way Vosteed does their boxing. So there's a sleeve that goes over the metal box that I'm going to show you in a minute. And you can see there is the Labrador. It's 154 cm. And it comes in several different styles. I do want to say that this was provided to me for review by the Vosteed company. So I will be as impartial as I can, which will be 100% impartial, and let you know what I think about it. Just to have that cleared up front. So this is a knife provided for review and not a knife purchased by me. Okay, so what we've got here is a beautiful tin box. And looks like I'm struggling to keep it closed, but that's just because of the way I put the pouch in there. Really nice with this kind of folded over edge and whatnot. Got their logo on the top. And when you open up the tin, there you go. We get the Vosteed labeled pouch. I'm going to open that up for you in a moment. And inside you get all kinds of goodies. You get a little card, and this should have the specs on it. Yep. So let's see. Drop point, flat, satin. Doesn't have the, oh, there it is. Okay. So yeah, they went to a lot of trouble. There is Vosteed Labrador. You see it at the bottom there. And we've got all the stats right there for you. I'm going to do my own measurements anyway, but that gives you some of the vital statistics. You can see it's going to be a fairly large blade at 3.74 inches. And there's a support card. I mean, they really go all out. There is a patch, really nice. You can sew the back. They don't often give you that, but they give you the backing as well if you want to sew it onto or glue it onto something. Oh, and there's the Labrador with the knife. And a microfiber cloth that has been branded. Really, really cool presentation, I would say. And the other Vosteed knives I've reviewed have a similar packaging. Let's open this guy up, take a look at it while I give you a little background about this company from Knife News. And there's that beautiful drop shut smooth liner lock. We'll discuss the details in a moment, but take a look at that. And I'm just going to go over this because I think it's interesting and it's informative. This is from Knife News from January 25th, 2022. And they say, after giving us a taste of what they're capable of with the Morgan and other kitchen knives, Vosteed Cutlery is bringing out a pair of modern locking EDC folders, the Nightshade and the Bellamy. By the way, I'll be getting the Bellamy in. That's the other one, not named after an animal as far as I know. Both of these knives were designed by Yudong, aka Dr. EDC, and one of the co-founders of Vosteed and a Kaiser Cutlery collaborator. And by the way, that's important because you're going to see a lot of similarities between Kaiser knives and the Vosteed knives. In fact, the doctor tells us that another Kaiser crew member, Azo Mai, helped him work out some of the geometries on the Bellamy. So then it goes through and, talks about the nightshade, and I'll show you the nightshade in a moment, which I've already reviewed. There's the Bellamy and so forth. But there seems to be a tie-in between Vosteed and Kaiser. Some of their original knives were made by Kaiser for them as the OEM, but now I understand their knives are being made in-house in their own shop at Vosteed. There you go. Took a while to go through all of that. And I apologize for those that want to just get down to business. And hopefully, if you wanted to miss that, you've skipped it already. Anyway, this is the Labrador. It is a 3.74-inch blade. This model is satin finish, beautifully satin finished. Some of the others are black finished and have different micarta colors. I'm going to give you a link not only to Vosteed, but also to White Mountain, where they're beginning to carry some of these. Here we've got a black G10 handle with a very nice lanyard hole. Here's the feature that I think really makes this particular model stand out. Do you like thumb studs? You do? There you go. Very smooth on bearings. Thumb stud opener. Maybe you like a front flipper. Sure. There you go. Front flipper. Yeah, maybe you don't like a front flipper. You want to do the standard traditional old back flipper. Oh, got that too. So you've got a knife here that will open with 3 methods. I've seen that on a few Tucson's by Jelly Jerry, but this is the first knife I've seen that has all 3 opening methods. And as I like sometimes, a really nice finger choil. And by the way, it's a finger choil that makes use of a lot of the flipper tab / guard without losing a lot of real estate on the blade. You can see you're less than a ½ inch there that you've lost on a cutting edge, and it also forms a really nice sharpening choil. So we've got a drop point with a beautiful forward belly, high flat grind in 154 cm. There it is right up there. There's the name of the knife, Labrador. So a very decent cutlery steel used for years and years and years by Benchmade and many other companies, made popular by knife makers, custom knife makers. So, although we've come out with so many new steels since 154 cm, it is still a very good steel, and there are a lot of people that swear by it. Not at it, hopefully. Nice handle, great ergonomics, nice finger swell there with a nice place for your index finger and your pinky, and the middle fingers resting nicely on that belly, if you will, that swell in the handle. Very simple ergonomics, but they work. You want to hold it point down, works beautifully in point down. Wide open construction, no backspacer, just barrel spacers, and no stop pin. This guy runs on internal stop pins. Not sure if you can see them. Let's see if you can see them. I'll try to position it so you can. You might see them right in there. They're tucked in there pretty tightly. But yes, it runs on a track on the frame on the internal stop pins. Very nice. That allows them to keep everything wide open and possibly more accessible for cleaning. You've got a clip that's folded over and is not quite deep carry. You've got maybe ½ inch left over. That ½ inch is valuable for some who want something to grab to pull the knife out of the pocket without putting pressure on the clip, which very often will prevent your knife from coming out very easily. The screws are flat. The clip is inset. Yes, it is. However, it is not transferable to the left side of the knife. And they may have had a reason for that. Maybe they didn't want to carve up that side of the knife and leave it open. I'm not sure why, but that's one criticism I could have, is that this could be made ambidextrous fairly easily because of the positioning of that clip and the fact that it's a straight clip. You don't need a special clip for the left side. Maybe future runs of this, they will decide to add that feature. But action is beautiful. And although it's not completely easily drop shutty, it is very smooth. I mean, you just give it a shake and it closes. It's a lighter blade, it's a lighter knife, fairly thin blade stock, but a very robust hidden liner lock with a very good thickness to it. And that you don't often see on a thinner knife like this. Well, we're talking about measurements, so let's quickly measure it up. Overall length 8 3/4 inches, almost a 9-inch knife, and yet very light. And 3.75, I'm getting, they're saying 3.74, and that's probably correct. It's very close to that. So 3 3/4 inch knife. Blade stock in millimeters right there. 2.8 millimeters, as I say. Fairly thin blade stock, but not overly thin. 0.11 in inches. And I would believe a nice thin handle, 0.53. Let's get to the all-important weight. We've got a 3.75-inch blade. Let's see how it weighs up. 3.44 ounces. So we've got under an ounce per inch. Really nice, as I suspected. Well, sizing it up, here is the Shinlin cutter, which they call the nightshade. It's fashioned after the traditional Chinese Shinlin cutter, kind of an all-purpose kitchen knife, utility knife. And here it is against a previously reviewed raccoon button lock. Now, one thing I wanted to show you is here is a Kaiser. No, I'm sorry. Whoop, got them all messed up. Edit. Here's the raccoon. Very sorry. Here's the raccoon. And here is the Assassin XL. So the two I wanted to just put side by side for a moment are the raccoon and the Kaiser XL. You can see a lot of similar workmanship here. I call it workmanship. Design language maybe. A little different style handle. But we've got that flat micarta, similar buttons. On the Vosteed, we've got a little ring around the button there that we don't have on the Kaiser Assassin XL. And I believe what this does for the raccoon is give you a much smoother button push with no stick. All it is that little metal container tube that surrounds the button that you don't have on the Kaiser, whereas the Kaiser can stick a little, and it does, possibly because it's moving through that micarta handle material. I'm not sure, but I get some stick there, and on the raccoon, I get no stick whatsoever. They do a very fine job, and from the details that you see, not only in the knives themselves, but in communications I've received, very clear, very upbeat, and in the knives themselves, extremely well made. I would say at least on the quality level of a Kaiser. They're doing a great job. One thing I wanted to do, got a .11 blade. What do we have? Yeah, we got a .05 liner. Just make sure I'm getting the whole thing. .005 on the liner. I would call that thick for the blade stock. It's roughly half the thickness of the blade stock. And you can see that the lockup is quite nice. I would say at about 30%. Blade to handle ratio is beautiful. Got just enough room for the barrel spacer there, although it's riding above the barrel spacer. I mean, you could have squeezed a little more out of there, but a lot of times when the knife point gets so close to the pommel there, you do risk picking it up with your finger accidentally, and that's not a fun thing. So really nice jimping, very grabby jimping without being overly aggressive. On the back flipper, the back flipper tab, not too high, just about right. I'm not even sure I can fail it. Nope, not so far. Beautiful, it just swings right out. It starts going and then just momentum just carries it right out there. Beautiful. Doesn't take much energy on the thumb stud. And front flipper, I'm not a huge fan of the front flipper, but this is a nice rendition. I can easily front flip it, and I can't say that for all knives that are front flippers, for me anyway. So that's the Labrador, a full-size knife from Vosteed Cutlery. Beautiful job, lightweight, large knife. If you're looking for an EDC that is extremely light to carry, that is a 3 3/4 inch blade. You like larger knives, but you don't want to carry heavy. This is definitely one to look into. So I'm happy with it. Probably, the Shinlin cutter, the Nightshade, a very interesting knife. Same nice factory work on this. But so far, here's my favorite of all the Vosteeds that I have encountered. Went a little longer on this video than I thought with that initial explanation. Hope you will value that and hope you enjoyed this review. Don't forget to give it a like and subscribe. I'll be back with you soon.